Meet Stan, a successful real estate agent living in Los Angeles. He's living the dream. He's rich, drives fancy cars, and has a beautiful wife named Mindy who loves him deeply. From the outside, it looks like Stan has everything anyone could ever want. But there's a dark side to how he makes his money. Stan has a special way of selling houses, a way that helps him make a lot more profit than he should. Every time he sells a property, he secretly cheats his clients out of a small amount of money. It doesn't seem like much at first, but after doing it for years, it adds up to a huge sum. And one day, his luck finally runs out. The police show up, and Stan is arrested for first-degree fraud. The news shocks him. He can't believe that his perfect life is falling apart so fast. In court, the judge finds him guilty and tells him that he'll be facing at least 3 years in prison. Terrified, Stan begs his lawyer to find a way to save him. In desperation, he even asks his lawyer to bribe the judge. The lawyer does try, but it doesn't work. The conviction stands. The only thing the lawyer can manage to get for Stan is 6 months of freedom before he has to go to prison. And even that is done by pretending to organize a fake charity event. After the hearing, the lawyer gives Stan one last idea. He tells him to fly to Brazil and never come back. But that plan is impossible. All of Stan's assets have been frozen by the government. He has no access to his money and no way to escape. For the first time in his life, Stan feels completely powerless. Knowing he only has 6 months left before he's locked away, Stan starts living in constant fear. Every day feels shorter than the last. He starts rushing through everything, eating faster, walking faster, even talking faster, because he knows his time is running out. One evening, while having dinner with Mindy, she tells him she wants to have a child before he goes to prison. She wants someone to keep her company when he's gone. But Stan hates the idea. He tells her it's crazy to have a kid now, especially since they'll probably have to give it up for adoption while he's in jail. His words break her heart. The argument gets heated, and Mindy storms out of the restaurant, leaving him alone. Depressed and drunk, Stan drives to a random bar. There, he sits beside a rough-looking man covered in tattoos. He notices one of the tattoos is related to prison, so he offers the man $100 to give him some advice about surviving behind bars. The man laughs but agrees to talk. He starts by telling Stan that prison guards don't care about what happens inside. As long as the inmates don't try to escape, the guards let them fight, hurt, or even kill each other. Then he looks at Stan and tells him the harsh truth. With his soft looks and weak personality, he's going to be the perfect target. The man warns Stan that in prison, people like him often get taken advantage of. He suggests getting a few scary tattoos to look tougher. But when Stan shows him his only tattoo, one of his mother, the man bursts out laughing. He tells Stan that it won't help at all, and he explains how the prison works. There are different groups, or gangs, Nazis, racists, Mexican inmates, and African American inmates. Since Stan doesn't belong to any of those groups, the man says his only option is to become so dangerous that no one dares to mess with him. If you want people to fear you, the man says you'll have to kill someone. The next morning, Stan wakes up with a hangover and hopes everything was just a bad dream. But when Mindy reminds him that he's still going to prison, reality hits him hard. She tries to comfort him, saying that he always finds a way to get out of tough situations. Her words stick with him. From that moment, Stan decides that he won't go to prison as a weak man. He'll go as an alpha. The next day, he begins his transformation. He starts working out like crazy, training his body every single day. He even gets a tattoo on his behind to make it look unattractive, so no one in prison want to mess with him. At one point, he even asks Mindy to use a sex toy on him. Not for pleasure, but because he wants to prepare himself in case something bad happens to him in prison. Mindy is disgusted and confused, but Stan insists that he's just trying to get ready. Then, he joins a karate class, but he gets frustrated when the teacher tells him to start with the basics. Thinking he already knows better, he challenges one of the students and ends up getting kicked out of the dojo. While walking away, embarrassed, Stan meets an old man known only as the Master. The man seems mysterious and powerful. To prove his skills, the Master punches a hole in a wall with one hand. Stan is amazed and begs him to train him. The Master agrees, but under one condition. The training will be tough, brutal, and unlike anything Stan has ever done. Stan accepts. The old man even moves into his house, which makes Mindy very unhappy. The first day of training is already insane. The Master wakes Stan up at 5 in the morning and pours a bucket of animal blood on his face to build mental toughness. For breakfast, he makes Mindy blend together ox pancreas and horse tongues into a disgusting smoothie that Stan is forced to drink. Every day after that, the training gets worse. Some days, the master hits Stan with flaming sticks. Other days, he hangs him by his skin or makes him eat scorpions and snakes to build resistance. Mindy has had enough. She's tired of the old man smoking all over the house and treating Stan like a lab rat. That night, Stan stages a fake home invasion to make her understand what he's going through. He pretends that burglars are breaking in and that she's about to be assaulted. When Mindy realizes it's all fake, she's furious. She packs her things and leaves, saying she can't live like this anymore. The master, however, is thrilled that she's gone. Now the real training can begin. Over the next 5 months, Stan trains harder than ever before. He pushes himself to the limit, fighting through pain, exhaustion, and fear. Eventually, he becomes strong, confident, and skilled enough to surprise the master in a fight, something he couldn't have imagined before. For his final test, he returns to the karate dojo and challenges the same teacher who once humiliated him. This time, Stan defeats him easily. He's no longer the same man. He's ready. On the day of his sentencing, the master and Stan's lawyer drive him to court. Mindy doesn't talk to him, but secretly, she watches from her car, proud yet heartbroken. Stan is taken to prison on a bus with other inmates. Almost immediately, one man tries to touch him, but Stan fights back and teaches him a painful lesson. Everyone around him realizes he's not someone to mess with. When they arrive, the warden, a man named Gasquet, greets them. He tells the prisoners they can do whatever they want inside, as long as they don't cause problems for guards. During the mandatory body inspection, the guards tell everyone to strip down and bend over. When they see Stan's tattooed and modified behind, they're horrified, exactly as he planned. In his cell, Stan meets his roommate, Larry. To assert his dominance, he immediately orders Larry to take the lower bunk. Larry, intimidated, obeys. Later, Larry tells him about the different prison gangs, the same ones the man at the bar had mentioned. Not long after, Stan encounters the most feared inmate in the prison, Big Raymond. Raymond is bullying a new prisoner, and Stan decides to step in. Everyone watches in disbelief as Stan challenges him to a fight. Using his self-defense skills, he defeats Raymond easily. The fight shocks the entire prison. Even a Nazi leader, Patterson, tries to recruit Stan, but Stan refuses and beats him up, too. When the African-American group confronts him next, Stan tries to talk his way out of it, joking that he's black too, but they don't buy it, and another fight breaks out. Once again, Stan wins. After these events, no one dares to cross him. The other inmates give him respect and fear. He becomes the new Alpha, the most dangerous man in prison. They even get him a new nickname, Big Stan. Later, the warden calls him in his office and reveals something shocking. He personally arranged for Stan to be sent to this specific prison. The warden is secretly planning to take over the prison's land and turn it into luxury real estate. Since Stan is a real estate expert, the warden wants his help to check for any legal loopholes. In return, the warden promises to reduce Stan's sentence. He'll only have to serve 1 year instead of 3. Stan agrees to help, but he starts to realize that something about the plan doesn't feel right. Meanwhile, the prison gangs, angry at being humiliated by Stan, team up to take him down. One day, while he's showering, Patterson sneaks up behind him with a handmade knife, a weapon built from a toothbrush and a razor blade. But Stan is ready. He pulls out his secret weapon, a nunchaku made from soap bars tied together with a shoelace, and takes Patterson down again. Later, Stan finds out that Mindy hasn't sent him divorce papers yet. Deep down, she still loves him, and that gives him hope. Now, with strength, confidence, and wisdom, Stan begins helping the warden with his project. But this time, he's not the same greedy man who used to cheat people. Prison has changed him. He's Big Stan now, stronger, smarter, and more in control than ever before. After spending some time in prison, Stan is introduced to a powerful man named Dang, a Vietnamese mafia boss who has now turned into a politician. Dang is working with Warden Gasquet on a secret plan. The two of them are business partners, and they're trying to get rid of the prison completely so they can sell the land and build luxury estates on it. One day, while working in Gasquet's office, Stan accidentally overhears them talking. What he hears shocks him. Their plan is to make the inmates fight each other violently, and when the chaos starts, the guards will open fire and shoot a few of them. That way, when the Board of Governors sees the violence, they'll think the prison is too dangerous and poorly managed, and they'll decide to shut it down for good. Stan can't believe what he just heard. Even though most of the prisoners hate him and want to kill him, he knows that this is wrong. Deep inside, He feels it's his responsibility to stop it and protect everyone. He might be a criminal, but he doesn't want innocent people to die for someone else's greed. So the next day, Stan calls for a big meeting in the prison yard. All the inmates gather around, curious about what he's planning. First, he collects all the violent video games, movies, and magazines from their cells and throws them away, saying they're making everyone more aggressive and unstable. Then he announces a new rule. Sexual assault will no longer be tolerated in the prison. Anyone who dares to do it will have to answer directly to him. The inmates start grumbling and complaining, but Stan quickly shuts them up. He tells them that if they still want to have that kind of interaction, it must be mutual and respectful. Both people have to agree. The idea of consensual relationships is completely new to them, but after a moment of silence, most of them agree to it. A few days later, during lunch, a young inmate named Robbie and some of his friends walk over Stan's table. Robbie thanks him for creating the no assault rule. He says that everyone feels safer now. Stan tries to act tough and says he only made the rule to show who's in charge. But Robbie can see through his words. He knows that deep down, Stan actually cares about their well-being. At another table, Big Raymond, the same guy who used to be the biggest bully in prison, is now happily eating lunch with his new boyfriend. The two of them are actually in a loving relationship, and surprisingly, everyone accepts it. It's all thanks to Stan's new system. One day, a guard hands Stan a letter from his wife, Mindy. In it, she tells him that she received his apology letter and that she wants to meet him. For the first time in months, Stan feels genuine happiness. There's still hope for his marriage. As the days pass, Stan becomes like the leader of the prison. If two inmates have an argument, they go straight to him to solve it. He listens, settles disputes, and teaches them to respect one another. Gradually, everyone starts to get along. The prison becomes peaceful, something no one thought was possible. Soon, Mindy visits Stan, and the two share an emotional reunion. They finally make love again, reconnecting after everything they've been through. But their moment of peace doesn't last long. Warden Gasquet finds out what Stan has been doing, keeping the inmates calm and peaceful, and he's furious. His plan was to create chaos, not harmony. So, during Stan's visit with Mindy, guards suddenly burst into the room and drag him away. Gasquet confronts him, shouting that he's ruining everything. He warns Stan that if he doesn't obey him, Dang will make sure he's killed. The next day, Stan secretly calls his lawyer and asks for advice. The lawyer tells him not to fight Gasquet, but the warden is powerful and dangerous. The safest thing to do, he says, is to do whatever Gasquet wants. Stan feels trapped. So, he stands before all the inmates and tells them that their problems are no longer his concern. He says they could go back to their old ways and do whatever they want. Everyone is shocked and disappointed, especially Robbie and Larry. Before walking away, Stan quietly tells Larry to stay away from the metal fence at noon. Larry realizes that Stan is being forced to go along with Gasquet's plan. He immediately warns the other inmates, and together, they come up with a counterplan. Meanwhile, Gasquet sets everything in motion. He arranges a fake meeting between Stan and the parole board to discuss his early release. While Stan is in the meeting, Gasquet takes the board of governors on a tour of the prison. He plans to make the inmates fight near the metal fence at noon, so the board can witness the chaos and agree to shut the place down. Inside the meeting, Stan realizes that time is running out. He starts acting rude and crazy in front of the parole board on purpose, so they'll dismiss him from the room. His goal is to get out and warn the others. Just as he leaves, Dang blocks his way. The two men stare at each other, and Dang smirks, revealing something shocking. He was also trained by the master. Then, the two begin to fight. Dang moves fast and strikes with power, showing that he's highly skilled. But Stan remembers everything his master taught him: to stay calm, breathe, and trust his instincts. After a tough fight, Stan manages to knock Dang out cold. By now, the inmates have already gathered near the fence, just as Gasquet planned. The guards get their guns, ready to open fire. But to everyone's surprise, instead of fighting, the inmates suddenly start dancing, all of them together, to a lively Mexican song. The entire field turns into a wild, hilarious dance party. The board members are shocked, the guards are confused, and Gasquet completely loses it. Furious that his plan failed, he grabs a gun and starts firing wildly. But this only makes things worse. The Board of Governors sees everything and realizes Gasquet was behind the violence all along. Before being taken down, Gasquet tries to shoot Stan. But at that moment, Mindy appears out of nowhere and saves him. To everyone's surprise, she fights like a pro, It turns out she's been training with the master for the past 6 months, just like Stan did. Together, they finally stop Gasquet once and for all. The scene then cuts to 3 years later. Stan has completed his full prison sentence and is finally being released. The other inmates gather to say goodbye. Robbie hugs him, Big Raymond waves, and even Patterson, the former Nazi leader, now has a tattoo of Stan's face on his stomach as a tribute. Big Stan movie ends with Stan goes outside from the prison, where Mindy is waiting with the master by her side. But this time, she's not alone. Beside her stand a little girl, their daughter, now 3 years old. Stan smiles, his eyes full of joy. He has his family back, his freedom, and a new life ahead. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notification so you don't miss the latest recaps.